But they just need a bigger keyboard, really. That's this whole thing would have been solved if they got a bigger keyboard.
This is a documentary about needing a larger keyboard.
Keyboards are too damn small.
Welcome to Guys We...
Hello, fuckers. How you doing? Welcome to another episode of Guys We Fucked.
It's the anti-slut shaming podcast. I'm Corinne Fisher.
I'm Krystyna Hutchinson.
Welcome to the show.
We got road dates, baby.
Yes, we do.
Friday, July 19th. Are you in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, a.k.a. Wawa Country? Well, guess what? I'm headlining Soul Joel's in Pottstown, and I want you to come. It's going to be great. Thursday, July 25th. If you're in New York City, head on over to Zinc Bar at 7 p.m. for my next installment of Hooch, my stand-up comedy show with Haley Dersher, who's a fellow stand-up comedian. Very excited. You can get all the ticket links for those in my bio at Krystyna Hutch on Instagram.
Yes, and if you want to come to the last date of the 14 City Eye of the Tiger tour, thank you for everyone who came so far. Salt Lake City on September 26th is the last day of the tour for 2024. So make sure to get tickets at CorinneFisher.com. I'll be there. Chloe LeBranch will be there. And tickets are already almost half sold out for that. So make sure to act quickly if you intend on coming. And if you want to email us, it's sorryaboutlastnightshow@gmail.com.
Can I promote dates real quick?
Yes, you can.
Absolutely.
July 19th through 21st. Come to House of Comedy.
Nope.
Oh, come on.
Nope.
Next.
I should write these down. House
Yep.
of Comedy
Yeah, you didn't
in
write it down?
Minneapolis.
You also, what are we talking about? You start with the city.
Right. Minneapolis.
There you go.
Right.
July 19th through 21st.
Perfect.
Come see me headline. 5 shows. Come to one of them.
Headlining. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Also, too, before we get into the emails, I got to talk about this documentary that I watched.
Oh, yes. I have so I have the water ready if you want to do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So Corinne's going to put some water in her mouth and drink and have it sit in her mouth to see if she spits it out.
So what is the name of this documentary?
Tell them you love me.
Okay, so this is on Netflix, and I was going to, Krystyna had already watched it, and I was going to also watch it, and then she was like,
Wait, just wait.
actually, maybe don't. Let me just tell you about it.
Let me tell you about it. Because I'm not really, I guess I'm giving away spoilers, but I'm not really. It's a fascinating documentary.
Okay.
Okay. Got the water in your mouth? Mm-hmm. Okay. Dr. Anna Stubblefield. She is a former professor, because she fucked up, of philosophy at Rutgers University. Now, it's notable. Her mother, Sandra McLennan, worked with blind, cognitively impaired children and was one of the earliest practitioners of facilitated communication. So Anna grew up in this environment and grew up understanding that a lot of people who are nonverbal actually have a lot to say. Okay? Mm-hmm. So fast forward, she's a professor at Rutgers of philosophy, I believe, and then she teaches facilitated communication. She was in one of her classes one day with John Johnson, whose brother is Derek Johnson, who was born with cerebral palsy, is nonverbal, and was diagnosed at a young age as basically mentally handicapped. He said they were saying that he's not going to have the capacity beyond a couple years old, like beyond of a child when he grows up. And they're like, okay. So his brother John loves Derek and is super close, and his mother is so loving, and they really love their son, and they have this beautiful relationship with him, but he can't speak with them. And so John is in one of Anna's classes. He's pursuing his PhD program. He is now a doctor. And Anna talked about facilitated communication. So John goes, oh shit, my brother Derek is nonverbal. Maybe this is something that they could figure out. Like maybe this would benefit him. So then Anna starts working with Derek. And so Anna, because Derek's hands, because Bell's cerebral palsy will affect various parts of the body, right? And it's different with every single person.
Swallow it. Sorry.
Yeah.
You can't hold it in your mouth that long.
Totally. That's good to know. I figured that was the case. So then Anna starts working with Derek. Now, Anna is married to a man. Now, Derek's a black man. Anna's a white woman. And boy, is she a white lady. Ooh, acting real white. Anna's husband is a black man. She has 2 children with her husband. Okay? Now, she starts working with Derek, whose hands are atrophied. So in order to get Derek to type, she has to pick up his hand to press the buttons. And when they started working together, there was a moment where Derek communicated to Anna through the typing, once he figured it out, that he wanted Anna to call her D-man. It was a nickname that somebody, when he was a kid, gave him, and he loved that nickname. D-man. This bitch kept saying demand. Like it was D''man. I'm like, bitch, it's D-man. Like that D-man, not demand. Okay, so the whole documentary, she's going, no, demand wants this and demand wants that. I'm like, bitch, that's not his name. But she's lifting his finger to type, and they fall in love.
No, they don't. What are we talking about?
Yes, they do, Corinne.
What the fuck are we talking about right now?
So there was a moment in, I believe they were taking D-man, Derek. I'm calling him Derek.
Wait. So she's married to another guy, but she falls in love with demand.
D-man, not demand.
But in her mind, it's
demand in her mind. It 100% is demand in her mind, and that's real. It's one of the many fucked up things happening in her mind.
Oh my God.
And she was his facilitated communicator.
Oh God.
Derek.
Oh God.
In this African American studies class, and they're in the middle of the class. I guess.
Why is a white woman your facilitator in an African American studies class?
It's a really great question.
That's the number one
race
question.
Is also big. Race is a big one here too with the race dynamics.
Oh my God! Wow.
And so Derek's older brother, and mother, who are very close, like who love Derek to death.
Yeah.
Are like, wow, he's actually he's able to communicate with us. But then they would try to have him move the thing. They would ask him a question, and they're like, how do I know if I'm...
This is like a Ouija board.
Yes.
This is like playing a Ouija board with your friends in 7th grade.
Exactly, Corinne.
Someone has to move it.
Exactly, Corinne. And that's how they fell in love. Because Anna basically, they kept having all these basically writing each other like love notes on his facilitated...
So she's writing a love note to him and then one back to herself.
Yes. And then they have sex. So John, Derek's older brother, who's this lovely guy. Oh, I really fell for this fucking family.
This is like on South Park when the teacher fucks the baby. Remember, like he's not a baby. He's like, what is he like?
Oh, the Canadian kid, like the Canadian.
It's the little kid. It's Ike. Who's it? Is it Stan's brother?
Ike.
Yes. Yeah.
So they fall in love.
Yeah.
And then John notices that there are bruises on Derek's body.
Oh,
and he's
so he likes it rough.
Well, Anna likes it rough. Because
she's like, you better live up to demand.
It's so fucked up. But this woman, the whole documentary, is convinced that she fell in love with this guy. And she left her husband and 2 children. She went to jail. She got sentenced for 12 years, did an appeal, only served 2. That's some white lady shit. And so they went to court. But when John asked Anna, because Anna's with him all the time, is with Derek all the time, and was saying shit. This fucking white bitch had the nerve to say to this man's parents, I know what he wants. He doesn't want to be called Derek anymore. He wants to be called DeMan. And I'm like, you just saw his mom So his mom asks, why are these bruises on my son? Because you are the one with my son most of the time. And she said, well, we made love in her home. And the mom she's like, I had to sit on my hands because I knew I was going to, and she didn't say it, but
She used the terminology, we made love? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. And that he's very sexual and that he's a man now. It's creepy.
How old is this guy again?
I think he's in his 20s.
Okay.
How old was he?
And how old is this lady?
She is actually good. That's a good question. Let me see.
You gotta call 188. Stop it on this.
Yeah. You gotta go to stopitnow.org and rat out these.
Derek Johnson.
Well, it's funny because I saw the little, avatar for this documentary on Netflix, and I already knew that there was a problem when a white woman was holding a black man's finger on a keyboard. I already knew we were in a pickle.
Yeah. Okay. So Derek was 28, but he had the mental capacity of a much younger person.
Right.
Also, let me see. How old was Anna? In 2015, Stubblefield was convicted of sexually assaulting Derek Johnson, who was 28 at the time of the alleged assault. The details show the gravity of the case and challenges that Johnson faced. Documentary aims to present an unbiased look at the contentious blah, blah, blah. Okay. How old are they? Tell Them You Love Me concludes with glimpses of Derek's life post-trial, depicting him as a healthy, safe, and well-loved. He was 27. How old was she? 12 years in prison. I mean, she had to have been in her 30s or 40s. I don't know. But they did set it up where she has this like love of, she basically from a very early on as a child, and her mom's in the Anna's mom's in the documentary going, she was in love with Derek and she didn't do anything wrong. And they really portrayed her as like, oh, when I was a kid, I learned that people who are nonverbal are actually smart and have a lot to say. And it's really important to me that I help with that in any way I can.
A lot to say,
she had
a lot to give.
Yeah, like that dong.
That dick. D-man.
Also, too, yeah, like if he's just learning to speak for the first time, yes, he's had thoughts in his head, of course, because he hears other people talk, so he knows the words, but he just can't say them. But then, like, you just go from like, hey, learn this facilitated communication to fucking. You don't even have a sex talk with this person that's never had a sex talk.
No,
like,
is he? Question: is he hot? Do they show him in the doc?
He's.
Oh, he looks. His outside reflects his inside a little bit.
I mean, he's
okay.
Derek Johnson.
I get it. Oh, that's inappropriate.
Yeah,
on so many
right?
levels.
Tell them you love me. Let me see. Dude, if I was...
No.
Yeah, man. He looks like he is developmentally disabled, which is not...
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And like...
Oh, no.
And Anna...
Wait, is this her?
Yo, this is her. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So now it's
like,
coming together a little bit more.
She's such a... Like the white lady that you're like, dude, stop talking. Like that kind of white chick.
She's not as white. She's more like Manson family culty looking more than I thought. She's a little more backwoods than I was thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she also has like a liberal haircut.
She looks like that woman from the meme where she's screaming when Trump won.
Oh, yeah.
The breaking down. Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. But yeah, that's her. And so she did have this appreciation for nonverbal. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to watch the documentary, because I've seen so many studies on nonverbal autistic kids about how they have psychic abilities. And then once you teach them this facilitated communication, they can, but then a lot of times with cerebral palsy, sometimes your hands are atrophied. And so you can't actually type. So his type of cerebral palsy was such that Anna had to hold his entire hand to get him to type. But it's like, but what is his control of his arms? And I'm like, and I'm watching this, and eventually it dawns on me, like 20 minutes in, I'm like, this bitch, was she falling in love with herself? Like she was making up what he was saying and fell in love with him. What the fuck?
Now, if it was a documentary about falling in love with yourself, that's something I could get behind.
Yeah, not in the way that you're hoping for, though. Not in the way you're hoping for.
This is really an exploration of self-love here. I think that
it's so fucked up. And I don't know how Derek's family didn't just fucking... It's crazy. It's crazy.
And Derek to this day, can he type by himself or no?
No, he cannot. He can never type by himself because of the cerebral palsy.
I'm sorry. Can he like, is there a device that he can communicate on now without someone holding his finger?
No. So at the end of the documentary, she had already gone to jail. And so they just kind of continue with life as normal, like as usual, in terms of like how they interacted with how the mom Daisy interacted with her son and the brother.
And did his behavior, the Derek's behavior change in any way? Like did he like a victim of like sexual assault or?
Yeah, like he just seemed like his brother was saying like he seemed scared and like skittish and kind of weird.
Oh no!
But then it's weird because so there's no way Anna would have known that the nickname D-Man was something from his childhood unless Derek communicated that, right? Okay. So that is something that was communicated. And there was a moment in this African American Studies class where he got called on because he wanted to give his opinion on something the teacher was saying. And then he typed in what he wanted to say, but Anna was holding his hand the whole time. But then when Anna answered for him, because he was nonverbal, she basically worded his answer a little differently and he got pissed and he said, never speak for me again.
Oh.
So I'm like, was that her fighting with her and her having this guy put his foot down and her go, Mister, what? And then she was making that up? Or was he actually saying that? I don't know.
So, okay, sorry. Hand atrophied. She has to type for him, but can he move his finger towards the appropriate letter?
Yeah, he can.
Okay.
He can. But they just need a bigger keyboard, really. That's this whole thing would have been solved if they got a bigger keyboard.
This is a documentary about needing a larger keyboard.
Keyboards are too damn small. They're too small. Because even if you got a little bit of a jolt, you can press the wrong thing.
Okay.
But yeah, it's fascinating. But then I want you to watch the documentary, and then I'm curious if you probably pick up on things that I didn't.
How is it one part or is it like a multi-part docuseries?
Just one documentary. It should have been a docuseries.
One and done.
Yeah.
No, a lot of these
docuseries.
docuseries I've been watching lately, it's like 4 parts, but you only needed 2.
Yeah,
And
the
then-
Jonestown one was crazy.
I don't know if I didn't see that one. I watched
it's brand new.
And Without a Country. I just this last week I did Octopus Murders, the American Conspiracy. So that's kind of like murder and American government conspiracy.
Oh, cute.
That one was really good. But it was like 4 parts. And I'm like, you didn't need all 4.
Yeah. Sometimes they draw them out.
Wow.
You're like, come on. But yeah, that's Derek, and yeah, Anna.
Oh God.
And then Anna's fucking ex-husband.
Yeah.
Was like, she's a narcissist, she's a liar. But then I'm like, are you just saying that because she cheated on you?
Because you don't like her. Yeah.
And you don't like her, which I get.
Imagine if like the ex you hated most, like, well, first of all, fuck the disabled person. Well, just
Who couldn't
raped.
talk.
Yeah, raped a
young
mentally
man.
challenged person.
Yeah.
And then you were called in for an interview, and you were like, "Do you want to pile onto this?" Or?
Yeah. Do I ever?
I knew he would do something like this.
Crazy, man.
It was
crazy.
written.
Yeah, I wish this was more than a one-parter because I have so many questions, and there's so much.
Also, I wouldn't do that. Just if I can see that clip coming back to haunt me, I wouldn't lie. I wouldn't lie if this happened.
Yeah, there's just so many questions I have.
Oh
but
my
this,
God.
This
Is his mom?
Yes, yeah.
She looks
and
sweet.
she loves him so much. And
Yeah.
like when they talked about his early life and stuff, and how like when John was like, okay, like he got diagnosed with this, and that his mental capacity was only going to be so far. Yeah, they were like they have this beautiful bond with Derek, and you're like, Jesus, that family for not hurting Anna. That is like physically, that's big of you. That's big of you.
Yeah.
It's big of you. And it's rare that a documentary touches on so many dynamics: disability, race, sexual assault, teacher-student, facilitated communication, like what somebody's communicating, what somebody's not communicating, like when is it them, when is it not them. And they did all these tests with facilitated communication where they had one of the tests that they did was with the facilitated communicator and the person where it was their hand was atrophied, so you had to type the person's thing. So they would show the facilitated communicator one image, and they thought that the person that they were communicating on behalf of saw the same image, but it was different. So that's how they checked, and they said a lot of it's fraudulent.
Oh my God.
Even if it's a bias that you're not intentionally trying to be cruel and putting in your own thoughts there.
Right.
It's just like a human, it just happens.
Absolutely.
So this chick fell in love with herself and then sexually assaulted a mentally challenged disabled person.
Wow, if you could have just stopped at the falling in love with yourself,
But
you could have given such a
still-
gift to the world.
She still says she's in love with him. Like she still stands by that. And I'm like, that's wild, dude.
Maybe this is the only man that she's ever been able to feel a connection with, because what she needs in this lifetime is really a connection with herself.
Probably. Anna, hope you're watching.
And I hope you're okay. I hope you're healing.
I hope you're healing.
And I hope,
Jesus.
Derek, I really hope you're healing.
Yeah, I hope you're healing more.
More importantly.
And and his family.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Let's get into emails.
They fell in love. I mean, I laugh at regular people falling in love.
I know. She really, like, watch the documentary, you're going to go, wow, she really believes this.
Oh, dear.
She really believes this.
But
And then when she describes him, like,
there's been
why you
emails
fell in
that
love.
we've gotten that we're reading them and we actually feel like a woman fell in love with a mentally challenged person, and it's just like an email about a straight guy and a straight girl. Like, and you're like, oh, it's just everything's so good, and you're like, is it?
It's a testament to how the reality in our head and the reality in front of our heads, is often very different.
Yeah,
it's very different.
Yeah, I don't even know. Oh my God.
Sorry about last night show at gmail.com. That's where you go if you want to email us, kids, okay? All right, speaking of kids, this subject line is porn talk with kids. Hi, Corinne and Krystyna. First and foremost, you guys are awesome. And although I've only been listening for a few years, I'm so grateful I found you guys at the time I did. I was married for 16 years and have been going through a horrible separation for the past 2. I recently met Corinne in DC with Chloe for my 40th birthday celebration.
Oh, I think I know who you are.
Due to endometriosis, I knew I would be more likely to conceive if I had children early. I met and married my husband when I was 21 and active duty in the military. I was successful with conception. I was successful with conception and now have 3 beautiful children, boy 17, girl 14, boy 8. In reference to talking about porn, I started from a young age shaping the conversation with my children about sex and pleasure. Pretty much all toddlers, especially boys, go through a stage where they discover their sex organ and experiment with touching and stimulation.
Yep.
Yeah, apparently boy babies can get boners.
Yep.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I from having a little brother, I'm familiar with all this. Yeah.
I would explain to my kids that it's okay and I understand that it feels good, but this is only appropriate in private. So either the bathroom or bedroom are where that can happen, and I will respect that privacy. This leads into the discussion about only you can touch your private parts and when it's appropriate for others. I think it's at about 7 or 8 years old is when kids start asking about sex and how babies are made. Usually coincide. I remember asking about how babies were made since Jump, because I was always like, the fuck is that about? I was always so confused by it. Usually coincides with them being on a bus with older children. I've always answered these types of questions / curiosities very matter-of-factly matters factually, and as accurately as possible. For example, my oldest was in 3rd grade and asked about twins. I was getting lunch ready and would write a quote on a napkin and put it in their lunchbox. So I used the marker and napkin I had handy to draw the 2 different types of twins and what it looks like with the sperm and the egg for each type.
Imagine opening that up at lunch.
You'll be so bullied. I've always told my kids that I will tell them the truth of whatever they ask. So if they have questions, come to me before gaining information from peers who may not have the right answers, and don't. The first conversation about porn with any of my children occurred specifically because I administered the Pornhub test to my oldest, who was in 7th grade at the time. The test is while doing dishes or cooking dinner, Google the Pornhub theme song. I did not know they had a theme song.
I didn't either. What is it? Eric, can you pull it up?
I look at Pornhub. That's where I watch porn.
Pornhub. Pornhub.
It's a hub for porn. It's a hub for porn. Turn your phone off because you're watching porn. We should write the new jingle for Pornhub.
I like that.
I'm busy, Mom. I'm on Pornhub.
What if it was, and then I feel like there should be some kind of a portion where there's rap.
Yeah, but we won't do that part.
I'm in the hub. It's what you got to do. There's plenty of white rappers. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm just not good at it. I've tried.
Yeah.
Ready to hear it?
What is it? Yeah.
That's so generic. Wait. Oh, okay. I'm like, when the fuck do I hear that? I watch Pornhub all the time.
Yeah, I think I didn't realize. I thought that was just like music. I didn't realize it was the
generic.
anthem.
Yeah. Okay, so she administered the Pornhub test. While doing dishes, she played it. Press play on the speakerphone and see if your kid has any reaction.
Wow.
Manipulative. A little manipulative, yeah. Sure enough, he reacted and was mortified when I told him he was busted, LOL.
Busted for busting, am I right?
Yeah, bust a nut, not in my house, unless you're in the bathroom and in private. But I told him this was a great opportunity to talk about reality versus expectations when it comes to sex and the false ideas that pornography can implant in the brain. And then he killed his boner for the rest of his life. Honestly, you did your job, Mom. I emphasized to him that it's okay to look at porn and normal, but to not distort it with reality. I don't know if I'm doing any of this parenting stuff right. Who does? No one does. And it's yet to be seen if my offspring become well-rounded adults, but I know the foundation of honest communication is what has helped me discuss these challenging topics with my children. I've attached 2 pics of my kids and me with Chloe. Love you both. Thanks for keeping it real. Your honesty and insightfulness is so beneficial. Love, person who emailed us.
Oh, yeah, it is who I thought it was.
Now, Eric.
Yes.
I figured this was a great segue for you to tell us about a recent experience you had. Speaking of porn.
Yeah.
What'd you do?
I went to EXXXotica this past weekend with Shay Dorena and JJ Lieberman.
Not familiar with that second person.
No, I
Who's
just
that?
met him. They're both comedians, but we were doing the Dania Beach Improv all weekend. And
Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Dania. I thought it was Dania.
I thought it was Danya the whole time. Everyone else was saying Danya.
Yeah, but we did the
Dania.
Yeah,
Huh.
so we went to EXXXotica because Shay was shooting content, and boy, oh boy,
What did you see?
I'll tell you, it was a a lot of the stereotypical porn producers that the guy,
the gross looking fat guy,
exactly who you imagine.
You mean it's not super hot guys producing porn? That's so crazy.
No, exactly who you imagine. A lot of paunches, a lot of weird bangs on old men.
Weird bangs.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
That's the grossest thing you've said so
Dahmer
far.
glasses, all that.
That can be hot, but not when you got bad bangs.
No, and it really was just like put on display the weakness of the male mind. Just
Nice. Tell us more about that.
Every guy who's there is just like he was just going to it for no reason other than he's a fan.
It's just Sunday. Yeah.
You would see them just like literally shaking as they're walking up to go and talk to it. It felt
That's
like
sweet.
Nothing makes me more uncomfortable than watching men interact with porn stars. At
It is a
convention.
weird thing to watch. It's like a car crash.
Yeah,
It's like
and
a
I grew up
fucking
going
car
to
crash.
conventions, not porn ones, but like a convention is kind of a convention.
yes, it felt very much like a convention. It felt very like pretty sterile. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But it just had me thinking the whole time, like, I wish there was like a camp, like, you know how there are like those alpha male boot camps?
Yeah.
I wish they had that, but for like insecure men to learn how to talk to women.
They actually, okay, so they
There's
actually,
dating experts.
they do have something. I don't know if it's a camp, but my friend right now is working in Los Angeles. She works at exactly what you just explained. It's not like a boot camp, but like they meet, I think, like, I don't know if it's like once a week or once a month, but like it's literally they experiment with real women having conversations to get in touch with their emotions. It's a fascinating thing that she does.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that needs to be much more broadly.
Yeah,
I feel like
I
those
agree
are
with
the
you.
ads that you should see on Pornhub instead of like goblins having sex.
And I love that, Eric. Yes.
Yeah, and it's a great time to get guys, you know, right before they're going to wank off.
Yeah.
Just really vulnerable.
Is this really what you need, or do you need a hug?
Oh,
Right.
We should take ads out on Pornhub.
Yeah.
Listen to guys we fucked.
I feel like I would, I could just be a good man therapist.
Yeah. You already are.
Not like a man coach. Yeah, not a male, like not a man therapist, a man coach.
Did you meet any porn stars, Eric?
I was filming most of the time, so
Okay.
I wasn't really talking to people. The second day, I had some time to kind of walk around the convention.
How was that?
That was generally uncomfortable for me.
Okay.
Why?
Did you see anyone you knew?
Anyone that I knew personally?
No,
or
from porn.
From porn, Eric.
Yeah, a few. I'm not a huge porn user, but I did see a few notable stars there.
Wow, caught red-handed.
Yeah.
Wait, who's your favorite porn star? Do you have a favorite porn star?
I don't. I really just kind of
Who do you like?
type in. I don't follow like the people. I just go to like, it's just like I'll have like
like an act?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a shower or whatever it is, and then it just kind of scroll through. I'm not like going
This
through.
girl.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
follow any porn stars on Instagram or anything. I feel like that's like that leads to just unhealthy attachment. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah.
This is beautiful to hear. Eric.
Yeah, it's very true. Good to know yourself.
The amount of unhealthy attachment there. Jesus.
So how so? Like, I mean, I feel like I have an idea, but
I mean, it's just guys going up to people who it's like the same thing with like comedy where it's like they listen to you constantly. They know you on a interpersonal level and then they just
Parasexual
want to
relationship.
say everything to you as
Yeah.
soon as you interact.
yeah.
Also, what was strange was a lot of the women there, it's like they put on like the affectation. Like I was like at one of the booths where they were like trying to sell me on like these sex gummies where it's like they have mixed with THC and Viagra.
And she was
Ew.
like, "Hi, baby."
Yes, exactly. That's how and they're just putting this thing
Open your mouth for me.
Yeah, she's like, if you bought it, it would make me happy. And I was just like it was a lot of that. And like,
Jesus.
the more
Have
I
you
think
been a
about
good
it,
boy?
It's the makeup industry for women, but a dude version of it.
Yeah.
yes, exactly. It's just like, oh, this is how, because a little bit of it, even though I know what's going on, it still kind of
worked a little bit.
Did you buy the gummies? Did you buy
I
the
didn't buy
gummies?
the gummies.
You wanted to, though.
I'll tell you who bought
because it was going to make her happy.
JJ bought the gummies.
Yeah, he did.
Of course
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah, he did.
Of course he did.
Wait, I've never been to a porn convention, but the AVN Awards, they had like a convention.
I mean, that was basically, I think.
Kind of like, I would imagine it was tiny room though. I was like, I feel like this room should be bigger. But like the Exotica conventions in Jersey, they're at like big convention centers, like
Yeah.
huge ones.
They said that's the biggest one because it's all the same convention that goes around, but that's the biggest, most popular one, the one in Jersey.
Yeah, so
You don't
that's a
say.
huge one. And there's women there that like do like fuck in a booth or like go on a dildo or go on a what is it called? Like not a rabbit.
The
Sibians. Yeah. Was there that going on?
No, there was no fucking. There was like stripper.
Really?
There was stripper pole. There's no nudity.
What?
No one was naked. It was
What?
all, like there were pasties and like fishnets and stuff.
Well,
Like,
their pussies weren't out.
There's
No.
different laws about sex in public and like when you can do it, when it's
Is masturbating in public sex in public? I wonder.
why are you looking at me? I don't know.
Can you Google it, Eric?
Yeah, absolutely.
It would make us really happy if you would Google it.
Mister, I would love it if you can look that up for me. I don't know how to do it. My titties are so big.
I dare you. Try to order a coffee like that and see what the guy's reaction is.
Yeah, honestly, I'm probably going to just for funsies.
Hi,
Maybe when I'm in Amsterdam, I'll be like,
I'd love
Excuse me.
soy milk latte.
Do you have almond milk? It's gonna get dirty. You don't have almond milk? What about oat? Ew, I hate it.
Oh
but I love it at the same
Public
time.
masturbation laws vary by state in the
Yeah.
U.S. For example, in Charlotte, North Carolina, public masturbation is a class 3 misdemeanor. In Alabama, artificial masturbation is illegal.
the fuck is that?
I don't
Using a
even know-
dildo?
I don't even know what art. Like,
It feels like-
I
it
think
feels like
pretending-
using-
Some guy wrote that law.
Yeah, it feels like
It's
using
artificial
something
if
that's
it's a
not your
dildo.
hand.
I think it's pretending to masturbate.
What? No.
Artificial.
So every time I tell a guy to suck my dick,
So
that
going
means
like this?
it's illegal.
So
Let
like,
me see.
I do that all the time. I do the jerk off motion all the time.
well, I guess don't go to Alabama. Krystyna.
Shit, I wasn't planning to.
No, artificial masturbation. Yes, it is using a toy.
I knew it.
Oh
That's
my
so Alabama.
god,
I
that's
knew it.
such a guy in Alabama not wanting a woman to have a vibrator, man.
I'd still be living my life in Alabama.
Yeah. I'd be walking around with my Hitachi. Going,
Wow.
try me, bro.
Try me.
Try me. Anything else notable that you'd like to talk about from this Exotica convention?
Saw a lot of big jugs.
Yeah, there
But
were
like fake ones.
Yes,
Big
there were
fake
some of
titties.
the largest breasts I've ever seen. There's- I've never-
Sometimes they're too big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow,
Yes.
girl,
There
you
were
committed.
a couple that were like,
There's a level of breast implant where you're like,
Come on.
what do you like? You can't go to a funeral.
Right, because it's disrespectful because
It's
the titties are
just
so
like-
big. You're like, ugh, now I'm
It's
just
just
looking
like-
at your titties.
It's just like you can't like
And
imagine.
I look at the titties too. Like
Or imagine like you're going through grief. Like you almost can't take it seriously at a certain point.
Because those are two
just, like,
such different types of
comical.
the area of your brain that processes titties and the area of your brain that processes the death of a loved one, opposite ends of the brain.
You just like can't do it.
Yeah.
I've
yeah.
never.
It's like
had-
you're a cartoon character.
Yeah.
I've never had the horse blinders on more so than at the convention. I think
Why?
I was the only like person there with a camera who is taking their job seriously.
Oh, okay.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Because you didn't need to be there, Eric. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people needed to be there to get
Yes.
was
to
all they
have
had.
female interaction, and you didn't need to be there.
something that
Did that
I-
make the porn stars like you more? Though I feel like maybe that would make them like you more.
I don't know.
You just had those.
Did they talk
blinders
to
on.
you?
I a little bit. I just had a few of them just gave me their cards asking if
Nice.
I do.
Home videos?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, shit. That's a
Oh.
proposition, baby.
Oh, Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
you had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
So naive, Eric.
Wow.
You're going to leave the show, man.
No.
One day.
I know that's the last thing I want. I don't need to.
A lot of men in their late 20s seemed like they don't want to become men, and it shows.
Yeah.
What do you mean become men?
Like being adults.
Yeah. No. Why would you ever want to do that?
Honestly, because I like it.
I
I like being an adult.
certain parts of adulthood. I don't want to lose my childlike sense of wonderment.
That has nothing
Yeah,
to do
yeah,
with
you
it.
should always keep
that's a
on to that.
Yeah, that's a misinterpretation. Being an adult to me is like being responsible.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've kind of been like an old man since like 15.
Well, that sounds like trauma. Okay.
Yeah. We'll get into that.
That's another episode. All right. This subject line says Uber me too. Uber me too. I know what you mean. It's like a me too that happened in Uber. Hello, I am a new listener from Canada, and I had to write in because of Corinne's sharing of the incident with that horrendous Uber driver, which encouraged me to report my incident too.
Ugh, the guy jerking off.
A couple of weeks ago, I was in London, UK, and one night after a disappointing Hinge date, I got in my seemingly safe Uber only to be forever disturbed. Literally, the last thing a girl needs after a bad date is their ride home to pursue self-gratification. Right after the ride, I had the intention to report it, but the Uber prompts are confusing, and the only option to report something like this is the one that says legal action may be pursued. Immediately, I was put off to report it because A, I didn't even want to think about what had happened. That's what the self-gratification people are banking on.
Yeah.
And B, was I now going to get involved into a criminal pursuit and make this nasty event last even longer in my memory? So in the moment, I didn't report it, but a week later, a couple days ago, I listened to Corinne narrate her experience, and that was the girl fuel I needed. My experience from hers with Uber rep Matt was quite different. The Uber rep to call me was British, and they kept trying to call me at 1 a.m. even though they knew I live in an opposite time zone. I think you're putting too much thought into it. They just replied to it pretty much immediately. Eventually, we connected, and the man on the phone couldn't have been nicer. Matt was nice.
That's great.
I felt like I was talking to someone in a caring job, like a nurse or a teacher.
That's nice.
Yes, he was careful to choose his words, but he had a genuine caring sense. He asked me all the questions, including if I had recorded the incident. I didn't record anything because I was terrified and didn't want to call attention to it. In the end, Uber said they'd refund me after I'd asked, which I hadn't even thought of, but thank you, and said they shared my report with the police, who likely would contact me, TBD. He also said that the driver would be made aware that a serious report had been made against him, but that he would continue to be able to do rides until the police carried out a decision. This is to be continued, as it is pretty recent. Will there be any repercussions to this man? We'll see. Probably not. So what happened? I'd met this guy on a second date for drinks, and after coming to my decision that we weren't going to hook up, I wanted to jet home Airbnb. My date walked me to the Uber and all. My ride was 40 minutes long, average London traveling distance, and past midnight. I spent the first half of the ride passing time on my phone, not thinking much of it, when I looked up and realized what was happening for I don't know how long. Similar to Corinne, I was seated in the back opposite from the driver. He had his right hand on the wheel, think opposite side since we're in Europe, and his left hand in his pants. He wasn't wearing an overly loud outfit, but he was wearing a tracksuit with a zip-up jacket. His whole body was in motion, and I thought my eyes have to be failing me. Like the urge to want to gaslight myself was crazy. I wanted this not to be true so badly. Because of it being late and the streets being empty, it was a Monday night, I felt at risk and not secure to want to stop the ride and run, especially not knowing where I was. So I said loudly, "Can you go any faster?" The man was driving painfully slow, 30 kilometers an hour, which makes sense because he was busy. But the roads were empty, and he replied with, "All the zones around here have changed to this new special speed limit." I just needed to say that to break what was happening without making it obvious I had caught him, which he'd have to be stupid not to figure out. But again, who's dumb enough to do that and not think they'll get caught?
A man.
Anyway, this little comment did get him to stop, and he put his other hand on the wheel. I could tell he was a bit like, oh shit, and was terrified. We still had 15 minutes on the trip, and I just kept the Uber app open until we got to my Airbnb. No other word exchange was made.
Dude, that's so gross.
I had felt so isolated in my experience, and Corinne sharing her story plus what she found out about this surprisingly, not surprisingly happening all the time is honestly insane. Uber rides are supposed to be the safest option when traveling in a foreign country. I mean,
we know we're safe.
You're literally getting in a car with a stranger
who just agreed to drive and applied for it, and Uber said yes. Uber's slogan is anybody could be a driver.
Yeah,
that's not true.
Most of them aren't even good at driving.
They're terrible.
And then on top of that, you're asking them to be good people?
Yeah, if you ever visit New York, do not fucking take an Uber, take a cab. I'm telling you, they know the roads and they're better at it.
We really have no options to stay safe and untraumatized, and that's so sad. I am listening to your new episode about Krystyna going to Europe this summer. Girls, stay safe. Thank you both for sharing your experiences about it all. It is super reassuring and validating to hear your podcast. All the best. But please don't make that. I also don't want this to like scare women from traveling alone, because I think like that's another way that men can control us by saying like the world is not safe for you to be in because we made it not safe. So now you can't do things without us. So just keep that in mind, right?
Yeah. So do you think like calling a guy out, driving you in an Uber while he's jerking off, I could see that putting.
I would not do that.
Yeah. It would be really, really.
I think that's putting yourself in danger. Like
tough for me not to say something, man.
Because it depends. I mean, like if you're a sexual assault survivor, maybe stopping the sexual incident. But for me and with who I am and what letting someone masturbate is going to be much less bad than me possibly having to get into a physical altercation with a man who is sitting down, so I can't fully gauge how big he is.
And you don't know what he has in his car.
I don't know what he has a weapon
with.
And again, I mean, I know we're being silly here, but I was like, it's gonna be worse if he touches me with cum hands.
Yeah,
that's gonna be worse.
Ugh, I'll barf on your dick.
Yeah. And I mean, again, like, had I really wanted to get out, I could have just opened the car door and rolled out. It wasn't like necessary. I didn't think,
it's
in
wild
the situation.
Too that these, like, you didn't say anything. Oh, I forget. I remember what happened, but like you never said anything and you just reported it afterwards, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay,
immediately. Yeah.
Like the fact that
I reported it actually while I was still in the car.
Oh, nice. Good. That's great. This woman, when she said that this Uber driver was shocked, that's wild to me. That's just,
Well, I mean, he could have also been acting.
Oh, that's true. God, I never assume people are full of shit.
Yeah. I didn't until, maybe 5 years ago, and I realized that.
This next subject line: abused alcoholic or just dumb.
Oh, boy.
This is a bummer one, but I think this gal needs a talking to.
Oh, Lord.
Hello, ladies, longtime listener, et cetera, et cetera. Roast me. I'm attaching pictures so you can see what I normally look like and what has happened now.
Oh.
Yeah. But it's not, we're not roasting you. This is a bummer. So I'm not going to kick somebody down while they're down. Okay. I'm attaching pictures so you can see what I normally look like and what has happened now.
Oh my God.
And one of my dog, Freddy, of course. I'm 29 from Canada, a nurse. I've been struggling with alcoholism severely for 10 years.
Oof.
Many hospital admissions, seizures, rehab 4 times. I've been with my boyfriend for almost 4 years. And he has 2 kids and absolutely given up on me. So are you together still? So he pushed me onto the pavement and I don't know how to move on or get him out of my life. It's hard with Freddie, to be honest, because he's so high energy. I walk him 4 hours a day. I have an eating disorder. I don't know how I identify sexually. That's the least of your problems at the moment, girl. That's okay. We can put that on a shelf.
Right.
Love his children. They're 6 and 9 and can't seem to function on my own. Oh. That's a myth. You can. It's just what your brain is telling you. Okay.
Yeah.
My family has been supportive in the past year trying to get me help. That's beautiful. Not everybody has those support systems, but they're done dealing with how I get while drinking, which is all day, every day.
Whew.
And I get that. Yeah, it sounds like you're not fun when you're drunk. I just have such issues that I needed someone to love me and be with me that it makes it hard to walk away. Again, that's all stories being created in your mind. I get drunk and do these crazy things to myself, self-harm, suicide attempts, etc. It's like you are crying for help to you is what's happening here. I see psychologists, addiction doctor, therapist. I'm on all the meds one can be on for these issues. I don't know if they're helping, girl. What the fuck can I do? I feel I'm on the end of my leash once again. I used to enjoy life and now I feel so broken. I wanted to read this email because it's a super bummer, but I feel like a lot of people find themselves in this position where you need to boldly love yourself. And I feel like the numbing that the alcohol does is just, you're covering up this main issue that you have to work with. Obviously, this is a short email. I have a lot of questions for you. But somewhere along the line, you didn't get the love that you needed from certainly yourself, but maybe from a parent, I don't know. I don't know what your childhood was like. You said you have family that's, they wanted to help you, but they can't stand how you act when you're drunk. And that makes a lot of sense. So you have to be this one in this situation where you feel alone in the world. You just have to love yourself against all the odds, man. You just have to. And
you seem like you need to go to rehab too, but like you're not.
Again,
I don't think you're taking rehab seriously, quite honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, Chloe talks about this all the time. I mean, Chloe's very open, about alcoholism, so you can listen to, and she actually, a couple people who listen to the show have told her privately over the course of Eye of the Tiger that how much she's helped them with sobriety, because her, hers is an example of it. Like she'll be like, yeah, it was like out of hand. She had to go so many times to rehab, but she was like, if I can make it to a year of sobriety, literally anyone can.
Yeah.
And I think many people who have seen Chloe drunk can attest to that. So
yeah, and it's not about like when you fall off the wagon, a wagon of any kind. I imagine like the shame spiral you must go down must be pretty fucking rough. And I can't imagine that doesn't make you want to drink again.
And there's a lot of insecurity also that comes out in this process for sure.
Oh, I bet. But you have to keep getting back on. You just have to keep trying to get back on.
Like, how did you not
10 more times?
How did you not lose your job?
Right.
Like,
I don't know. Especially if you're drinking all day.
If you want to go about it from other ways, it's like, okay, I mean, I don't know, not to make you feel worse about yourself, but like you can't be showing up. Your job is really important, right? You literally are in life and death situations with other people. So if you can't get well for yourself, like get well, because it's irresponsible to be in a situation like that where you're handling other people's health and you're not in a space that you can show up for them.
Also,
isn't that what you want to do in the world?
Exactly. And I don't know if Canada has its version of AA, which is probably just AA, but in Canada. Yeah. But they also, ever since COVID, all of these addiction organizations have online meetings. And Narcotics Anonymous has online meetings 24 hours a day on Zoom that you can join at any time. They get real dark in the middle of the night. It's pretty sad. Definitely makes you want to take those drugs that you're not taking anymore. But something like that could be a good support system for you because, you have to get out of this cycle, this hamster wheel.
Yeah. And it's like, sometimes having family and a boyfriend is great, but then sometimes it just becomes them worse. Enabling you, right?
Yeah.
So like maybe this is your rock bottom, right? This is your rock bottom.
It sounds like it.
You've gotten physically hurt. Your family's done with you. Your boyfriend of 4 years is done with you. Like, you have to get good for you. You can't properly love a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old if you're not your best self. And it's like, is this what the example that you want to set for them?
Yeah. And it's not.
It's not.
Prove to yourself that you are worthy of love by actually, going through the motions of getting the life back together.
Yeah. When you get home tonight, pour all the alcohol down the drain.
Yeah.
Throw it away.
And you have this gorgeous dog, Freddie, who's so sweet. I feel like animals with addiction, with trauma, with anything tough, animals are super clutch for that. Hang out with your dog, play with your dog.
Yeah, and also you said like he's super high energy, like that's a bad thing that you have to spend 4 hours a day walking him. I think that's a good way. Those are 4 hours that you could be out at the park with your dog and not drinking. Yeah. Like even just start, you say you're drinking all day, every day. Try experiencing walking Freddie for 4 hours. That should be something that's like pretty enjoyable off substances.
And take a bottle of water. Take a giant bottle of water with you. So you're constantly like taking in a fluid. That's good for you. Yeah. Your body probably wants some hydration.
A lot of people with addiction, they like suffer. They like have a tough time when they're getting sober with like this like quietness and like this stillness.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's because they're trying to distract themselves from that with the substance. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe finding like a way to wean into that silence has been, that was at least what was helpful for me when I was kind of struggling with some stuff when I was a teenager.
Get into comedy, get into music. Like, lots of people can't handle silence for sure. I love it. But I understand not wanting the silence because that's your own thoughts. We saw that during COVID. People really have an inability, even people who don't suffer with addiction.
Yeah, because I think when your inner brain is a bully, then you don't want to hear it. And so you don't know how to calm it down.
Right.
And you have to rise above the thoughts because the thoughts are going to come, but you just have to not cling to them.
Yeah. Or even like, it's almost like, and a lot of people use this. I don't know how I feel about this, but it's like basically replacing an unhealthy addiction with a healthy one. Mm-hmm. A lot of people will get really into working out. But you could really get into a band, really get into a hobby that you can listen to podcasts about. Right. So that will then fill that void. But like you're gonna die if you don't stop this. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you're a nurse, you know this, right? Yeah. But you're gonna die if you don't do it. So make a move now.
And also read, if you're into reading books or into audiobooks, Gabor Mate has a lot of great stuff to say about addiction. And all the time, one of the most common quotes that he says that I'm like, this is such a beautiful quote. I wish it was like, I wish that was in every school classroom instead of the fucking 10 Commandments. Addiction, the opposite of addiction, the opposite of trauma is connection. There is a community in, I think it was Switzerland. Where's my phone? That practices legal heroin use for addicts, and they said the number of years. Johan Hari posted about this study. The amount of years that they've been doing the program, not one person has died from an overdose. But he goes on to say that when you treat people who are addicted to substances with love and compassion and connection, there's no need for the addiction anymore. I know that there's physical side effects to an alcohol addiction and a lot of drug addictions. Like then they're awful. That's something to be gotten through. But when connection is there, you wean off the drug naturally. And when love is there and when compassion is there, these are the missing elements. And then one of the reasons why addiction is so sad is because you're like, why am I doing this to myself? It feels awful. It feels awful.
And you also said like, my family gave up on me. My boyfriend gave up on me. Well, you gave up on you first.
Yeah.
So maybe start there. All right. This next one says OTC birth control. Why haven't we heard more about this? I guess you're not listening to Without a Country. Hello, Corinne and Krystyna. I recently heard about a new birth control pill that requires no prescription, no doctor's appointment. I did some digging. You don't have to dig. It's like literally you can Google it. It's
I didn't know about this.
readily available. I did some digging and found this NPR article linked below. The medication is called O-Pill. According to this, the article, O-Pill started being sold in pharmacies in March 2024 and is available to be shipped out directly to your home in discreet packaging. It is a progesterone-only pill, sometimes called the mini pill. The mini pill is my personal choice of birth control. I found less hormones equal me feeling and acting less crazy. This particular medication and dosage has been around for decades, but has always required a prescription. Reproductive rights is a subject very close to my heart. I grew up in the American South in a traditional Christian community where sex ed was non-existent and purity culture thrived. I've seen firsthand what can happen when women don't have the knowledge / resources to decide what happens, not only to their bodies, but to their life and well-being due to an unexpected pregnancy. My cousin got pregnant when she was 15, and my uncle forced her and the baby's father to get married because, quote, no daughter of mine is going to be an unwed mother. No,
because that's the problem.
My daughter's going to be a teen mother instead, said in a grouchy old man Southern accent. After the baby was born, my cousin dropped out of school, never graduating and never got her GED because of how controlling her husband is. He never allowed her to work or even get a driver's license. Many people in my family tried to help her and her daughter leave the situation, but she is too scared. Her husband's grandfather is the sheriff of their small town. And he has threatened to take custody of their child if she tries to leave.
Wow.
He says he will charge her with kidnapping, and because of the connections through his grandfather, she would never be able to see her daughter. Her plan is to wait until her daughter is 18, God willing she doesn't have more children, then leave her husband in her small, corrupt town. Oh, great plan. Sounds good. Unfortunately, my cousin isn't the only woman I know that has been in this kind of situation. There is so much stigma and misinformation that prevents women from deciding when and if ever to have children, but making birth control more accessible is a right step in the direction in this era of heartbeat bills, Roe v. Wade getting overturned and anti-choice laws becoming stricter. And that's just going to keep happening. I mean, again, we've gone over this. We have a section now on Without a Country called God Watch because of the way that the conservative Christians have really basically they've unionized and they are getting shit done in a crazy way. And make no mistake, especially if Donald Trump wins this presidency, this will continue to happen. And I think liberals really haven't taken conservative Christians seriously because we don't take ultra religious groups seriously. But
when they get shit done,
ultra-religious groups are what get stuff done. I mean, just look at fucking Hamas. Yeah. I would appreciate it so much if you could share with your listeners the option of reproductive health. Yeah, I mean, O-Pill is everywhere. There's again, this is why it's important to read the news because it was everywhere. But also, again, this is why I keep talking about this attack on TikTok and Instagram about hormonal birth control. It's like, well, a lot of people also kind of think that hormonal birth control, oral birth control is not a good thing. They think like the government's trying to control you. It's like, oh, the government's trying to control you, all right. This is not how they're trying to do it, though. So, I mean, I've be on some form of birth control is my personal opinion, whether it be a pill, something, some kind of a thing. I just can't. I agree with the email, but a lot of people don't agree with it. So you can't force people to do things that they don't want to do.
Yeah. You can only try and show people the light. How much time we're at, Eric?
53.
Okay, cool. I wanted to go over this one thing. I'll read this last email. This is a short one. British snob here. Hi, Krystyna and Corinne. Let me start by saying I love your podcast. I'm an older man in the UK and now live in South Wales. Your podcast, I'd love to introduce to my 3 adult kids. They're 30, 28, 27 years old, but I have no idea how to. I cannot even talk to my friends or siblings about sex or your podcast. People seem so uptight here. That's
Brits.
true. The UK. I don't know what the fuck y'all's deal is in the UK.
Yeah.
You're so fun and lovely, But like whenever I do comedy there, which I do love doing comedy there, it always takes like 20 minutes to get you like, okay, now we're chill.
Yeah.
I'm a feminist. I mean, I've produced 2 women. That doesn't mean you're a feminist. And want nothing but the best for them. That means you're a loving father. I love to be more open about sex, but the women in my life, get this, are so prudish that we have a very plain sex life, and I'll accept being with this person just means I'll have shitty sex. Then they'll go off and have affairs or run off with younger men. Fuck that. I mean, if this has happened to you more than once, boo.
Yeah, I mean,
you're the common denominator.
I'm sure there are women who want to have a fun sex life in South Wales.
Yeah, there are. How do I tell my new partner that I want more sex or more adventurous sex? How do I get my kids into your mindset and free themselves and avoid having my shitty personal life? Any help is appreciated. Love your work.
Well, I mean, it's a little late in their lives now for like dad to sit down and like with your
It's not a sit down thing.
27 and be like, hey, are you fucking? Like that's kind of a journey that they're on their own now. I mean, if it also like this podcast isn't like, it's not like it's pornography. You can just be like, it can be like a funny dad thing where you kind of like reveal to them that, or over conversation, not reveal, just be like, I've gotten really into podcasts and I'm listening to this like one by younger women, younger than you, younger women in the US that I love. Have you heard of this? Like,
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like, you can't tell them that you have like an agenda for their sexuality. And as far as your partner.
So that that for me, I'm like, you have to, that's not a sit down talk either, but like, you know, if you want to have more sex with your partner, like what's in it for them? Make her horny, you know? But a conversation is usually not going to do it.
The wording that I want more sex, especially coming from a man, is already like,
it's not
love
good.
it.
It's not good.
Don't
it's
love
not
it.
Good. Don't say it that way. But also like, okay, arouse me, turn me on, touch me really slowly. Like your body gives, like you can touch a person's body consensually when you already know that part, where they'll get really turned on when maybe a second ago they weren't. You know what I mean? Like put the work in. Put the work in. Dick her down. Dick her down. Might. Take it down, might.
Start going to the gym also. Try that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
yourself.
I agree with that.
Make yourself more attractive.
Start
to the
with
person.
you.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Maybe they won't run off with
the
younger
venom.
men.
Eric with the venom.
Well, I'm going to put that sound on the board.
That's why I literally hiss at people now. When I don't like what they say.
I like that.
Just hiss at them. I don't give a fuck.
We're in that stage of life.
Who gives a fuck?
The hissing stage.
Yeah. I don't care what you think. I just don't care. There's this guy online, Jake Woodward. I help men and women build strong intimacy with masculine and feminine embodiment.
Wait, I know who this. Wait. Oh, I think I've seen this.
So I was reading this post. I'm curious what you think about it. So for women who claim to have done the inner work, but their man is still unconscious. I receive an alarming number of messages from women who claim to have done the inner work, but their man hasn't. Or if they are single, they keep attracting feminine men. Here are my thoughts on this. Most women in today's world are programmed to put 100% of the blame on men. I'm like, no, we blame ourselves. I mean, we also shouldn't be doing that either.
I would say Gen Z is more like that.
Oh.
Which is like, so it's basically an overcorrection of, we want it to be somewhere in the middle, right?
Yeah,
it's like an overcorrection from the years of self-blame.
Yeah. So he says, most women in today's world are programmed to put 100% of the blame on men. Before you get triggered, read the entire post. Love that way of communicating. Love that way of communicating.
Combative. Yeah.
Yeah.
Triggered. That's all.
Yeah. They can't be feminine because men are not stepping up, and that's in quotes. And while I agree that a man's masculinity inspires a woman's femininity, she must also be a participant in embracing her femininity. She has to take accountability for how she was showing up, which will inspire the best version of him as well. Feminine energy equals his most masculine self, as long as he is also stepping in. Most women who think they are embodying their feminine energy are still coming across as very masculine. This is why they are still competitive towards men and need to prove them wrong. Easily
Men are just wrong a lot. It's not proving them wrong.
I know.
It's just saying that they're wrong because they are.
Pointing out the facts. Easily triggered or defensive for no reason. I'm like, you dumb fuck. If somebody is triggered or defensive, like, there's a reason. Why? You shouldn't coach people. You shouldn't coach people. It's alarming. Pick unnecessary fights and arguments. Criticize every little thing a man does. are passive aggressive with their communication, not if they're criticizing like that, put all the blame on men and take zero accountability for how they show up. When a woman is truly in her feminine, she inspires a man to lead, protect, and provide. And this is in all caps, he wants to support her flow because of how magnetic and nourishing her energy is. He, however, doesn't want to be with some cold, nitpicking, demanding woman who is always telling him what he does wrong and challenging everything he says.
I see.
When a woman is truly in her feminine, she won't be able to happily remain with a feminine man, just like the same poles on a magnet repel each other. He will either...
science got involved.
Nerd. Fucking nerd. He will either be inspired to step into his masculinity or the relationship will become intolerable and lead to a breakup. And then that's where he's like, come work with me. I'll coach you. Me and my wife will coach you. But he's basically saying like, well, if you need to lean into your feminine side for me to be good. So it's not my fault. It's your fault.
Right. Again, I mean, it's just the same thing of like women have progressed at a more rapid rate. So we have thrived when we were allowed in the workplace. Thank you. So kind of you, men, to let us in. We thrived in the workplace. And then so we have now mastered both the feminine and the masculine side. But like, yeah, of course you're going to lean into the masculine side, like is in a way stronger, more powerful, makes you feel more powerful, especially when we've been kind of kicked out of it for so long.
Yeah.
And men didn't do the work. So men don't know how to step into their feminine. Again, for me, ideally, I like relationships where you can swap the feminine and masculine energy. Very rare. It's hard to find, but when you find it, it's really great. But you need a man who's been able to play both roles. And yeah, basically the kinds of men that I certainly know of are like full on cucks, or guys who just have like almost like not even a real masculine energy, like a faux masculine energy, which is so completely useless.
I'd rather you have feminine energy
in society, in my opinion.
I want beer now.
Yeah, it's like you guys have like lost skills. Like, you're telling us like we don't, cook dinner or shit anymore. You don't know how to fix a car. You don't know how to put up a shelf. You don't know these things. You don't know the things that you are, quote, supposed to know either. So what the fuck are you talking about?
Bye. Boy, bye.
Have a great day.
Fuck you. Little bitch.
Yeah, I mean, because I don't even mind having these conversations. Like, I like the way, like Dante, Nero never, that episode and stuff, deeply wounded so many female listeners. I'm totally willing. And I do think there is something about like, what is your goal? Are you trying to get married and are you willing to kind of play whatever role in society you need to play to make that happen? Then yeah, of course, that's 100% going to work. Just read Getting to I Do. It'll work. But if you have a more complex view of the person you want to be in the world and what it means to be a woman or what it means to be a man, like these kinds of things, like, yeah, it's not going to be that simple. And you're going to grapple with that ethically and have a problem with who you are and where you stand in a relationship. This is
and
just
then blame it on everybody else.
Fucking life.
Yeah, man. Apparently it's not as fun as we all thought it was going to be.
Yes, no.
It's just got
it's a pretty big letdown.
Yeah. Yep. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you so much for listening. Woo! This has been Guys We Fucked, the anti-slut shaming podcast. We will talk to you next Friday.